Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's 1 Million by 1 Million Strategy Roundtable for Entrepreneurs. 1M, as you know, is the first and only global virtual accelerator in the world. Our mission is to help 1 million entrepreneurs reach $1 million and beyond in annual revenue. And in support of that mission, we do these roundtables, these free mentoring roundtables week after week after week. We are doing the 429th session today. It's been more than 10 years going, this series, and we've had over 100,000 people participate in these sessions. The event is being recorded. Every single recording is available on our YouTube channel in case you choose to use this as your learning material. It is a good learning material. If you're live tweeting today, please use hashtag 1M1M. And our Twitter handles are at 1M1M and at Romana. We publish a lot of interesting stuff. These are the call-in instructions for today's call. We will have time for Q&A, but not yet. We have three to four scheduled segments first, and then we're going to open the line up for call-in conversations. But please make a note and do weigh in, do ask questions in public chat, and do plan to call in and so forth. We're going to start the conversation today with Preeti Rathi, partner at Ignition Partners. Preeti, please, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Shamana. Happy to be here.
So, Preeti, tell us a bit about yourself as well as acquaint our audience with Ignition Partners.
Absolutely. So Ignition is an early-stage enterprise-focused fund. We have $1.5 billion under management and are currently investing out of our sixth fund. The sixth fund is a $200 million fund focused on, as I said, early stages. So seed and Series A are our sweet spots. And from a check size perspective, we do anywhere from $500K to $8 million, depending on the size of the round. Mm-hmm. While we don't really have any strong ownership requirements at seed, at Series A, we like to lead or co-lead an investment. We won't really do a small minority check at Series A. And I think one of the big ways, Ignition strongly differentiates from other funds is, I should say, I'm getting over a cold and there's a frog in my throat, so apologize for that. Is we are the investors that will not just offer a check, but will tirelessly work along with the entrepreneurs. So when we put in a check, you don't just get the partner who made the investment, but the entire Ignition team who will put in the needed work and effort into helping the entrepreneurs build a company they envisioned.
So double-click down a bit on your seed strategy in that what is considered seed-worthy in your shop? What do you want to see in terms of validation or MRR if you're doing SaaS? What is the current thinking?
So you know what? From a progress perspective, even if we are looking at a company at seed stages, we are one of those firms who would like to partner with startups when they have a product already ready and have some traction going as well. In today's world where you have a friends and family round, a seed, then you may have a second seed or pre-series A, whatever you want to call it. We are probably a good fit at the second seed stage, or if you are at a seed stage but you've made reasonable progress in terms of getting to customers, that's where we would be a good one.
So, by the way, the terminology we have been using and somehow the industry kind of is starting to coagulate around is friends and family, pre-seed, seed, post-seed, pre-series A, series A, small series A, large series A. That's kind of the continuum that we have. So let me ask you what traction means. What can you quantify that into MRR, for example?
Yeah, you know what? I hesitate to sort of quantify it in precise numbers because it just depends depends on what markets the entrepreneurs are going after. If it's a brand new market where, if you're a seed investor, you are looking to invest in technologies that may become mainstream only a few years from now. You have early adopters to begin with, but it becomes mainstream where everyone's like, okay, that's a technology we cannot live without, or a product we cannot live without. It takes a few years. And so if it's one of those frontier tech, as they say it, so you cannot really expect huge traction there. Versus if you are an entrepreneur who's building a product in a sector which is it's a well-known sector, well-known space, products have existed, you just have a brand new technology or a business model that makes it different. In that case, the kind of traction we look for would be different. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay. All right. So what about geography? What's comfortable?
So from a geography perspective, we are really focused on companies right here in the U.S. I mean, given our working model of working hand in hand with our portfolio companies, and, we basically are one of those who will say we'll wear whatever hat our portfolio companies require us to wear. You need help with strategy, we'll go do that with you. You need help in hiring, we'll help you hire. And so it's really important that the companies not be too far off from a geography perspective. So we are primarily focused on the U.S.
But U.S. is a big territory. All of U.S. or some?
Well, ideally, look, we have companies, so we are based, I should have mentioned this as well, right, initially, is we are based out of Bay Area, San Francisco, and then Seattle. And so ideally for us, if we can get on a plane and get back here the same day, that would be ideal. But it doesn't necessarily mean that we won't invest in a company which is not a plane hop away from here. Mm-hmm. For example, one of our portfolio companies, BotKeeper, is based all the way in Boston. So, that's the reason I said U.S. as a geography rather than just, hey, we will only invest on the West Coast or up to Midwest or so on.
Okay. Sounds good. And what about types of businesses? You said enterprise focus. So are we talking about enterprise SaaS as your primary focus area?
Right. So, when I say enterprise, it basically means B2B focused companies. And we are open to looking at any company that is B2B focused. While ideally, something that we think is really taking off in a big way is intelligent B2B applications, and that is something we are looking at actively. But we are always open to investing in any company that is B2B focused. Entrepreneurs come up with brilliant ideas, and they have thought about things very differently. So we always have an open mind in terms of saying, let's just hear what they have come up with. But, from a stack perspective, you are right. We are focused more at the application layer at the moment.
Mm-hmm. And B2B means you're also doing the business to small business, mid-sized business applications as well, yes?
Absolutely. SMBs, mid-size, large businesses, it depends on what problem is the startup trying to solve. If the problem that they're solving focuses on small businesses, that is fine too.
So, Preeti, can you take us through a few examples of companies that Ignition has invested in, and why have you chosen to invest in those companies? What is it in those companies that are compelling?
Sure. Some of our notable exits, let me start with that, and then I'll even talk about some investments we've made recently, and not too many people may have heard about it, but just to give you a sample of how we think about investments. So some of our investments include companies like Splunk, DocuSign, Cloudera, Heroku, ZenSource, Docker. So those are some of our investments. And as you can see from the names, the way we think about it really is, At a high level, we are really looking to invest in companies that have what it takes to be a standalone company. I mean, as I mentioned before, our mission really is to be an early stage partner that invests not only money and time, and we take a lead or co-lead ownership. It really leads to an investment model of saying fewer concentrated investments because we do need the time. We want to be able to allocate time for our portfolio companies. And so these investments have to be where they can lead to large outcomes for us. So that's what I would sort of say from how we think about investments. In terms of some of our recent investments, iCertus is one of our investments. Tractable is a company that we invested in, which is deep learning computer vision for auto damage estimation. And that really basically is saying it's an application focused on insurance space, but they're solving a problem using ML/AI technology. Mm-hmm. If your car gets into an accident and you need, the way it usually works is you have an estimator sent over or you take your car to a body shop. So instead of doing all that, you just take pictures and the software will offer you an estimate.
So are all the seed investments, are all the names that you rattled off, are they all seed investments?
So you know what, yeah, most of these, we are seed investors in Splunk, we were seed investors in DocuSign, and most of these, yeah, I mean, not every one of them is a seed investment. Like I said, we partner, Series A is a very good place for us to start with as well. And if it is something we are absolutely drooling over, we'll start our partnership with a company at Series B as well. But primarily, we are early stage investors where we say we want to spend time helping you build a company, so seed and Series A is where we focus.
So this probably is going to be hard for you to answer, but I'm curious, what did the partner from Ignition who invested in DocuSign or Docker or, one of those companies that have really taken off, what did they see at the seed stage to make that bet?
So you know what, I can answer this generally. Obviously, as you pointed out, it's some other partner who invested in these companies. But in general, at Ignition, we are looking for, so you know what, there are actually different answers. I should just sort of, there isn't one standard answer as such. So let me just say, if it's, so large markets are always important. If you're looking for a large company, you need large markets. But if you're focused on, say, some kind of a vertical, the vertical is as big as it is. So if we're looking at a company that is focused on some vertical, then we try to sort of understand what kind of domain expertise does the team have. Do they really understand what true pain points of the industry they are solving? What kind of a product are they working on? Do they really understand the workflows? Do they understand what the buying patterns of the team are? What would they be resistant to, and so on? So I guess just basically trying to understand, is this a product that would get adopted on a massive level or on a mass scale?
So, the algorithm that we use when we talk to our entrepreneur community about what VCs are looking for, VCs are looking to build a company from, let's say, 0 to $100 million in 5 to 7 years. So velocity is a high priority, and market size, obviously, to do that, you need a large market. And this is the traditional venture model. Of course, there are other things emerging now, which are focused on more niches, early exits and stuff that are more on the micro VC side and so forth. We are hashing all that out at the moment. I'll have a lot of conversations going on that topic, but Ignition is a traditional venture fund that has that criteria of having to go from 0 to $100 million in 5 to 7 years. And what you're pointing out on domain knowledge is actually very much on our radar, is that if you're trying to do something that is vertical or that requires deep domain knowledge, that is a winning formula for a founder to be able to convince an investor.
So, Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just adding to your domain knowledge point, really, to say that, we have across the geographies, we have really smart people, really smart engineers building some really high-tech products. And so increasingly, where the companies have to look for winning the market really is you've really got to think about what secret sauce do you bring to the table that will help you win the largest market share or large market share, whichever way you think about it.
Right. Now, talk to me a little bit about trends that you see in your deal flow. So if you look back on, let's say, the last 12 months or 18 months of deal flow, what are the highlights?
Yeah. So you know what? When I think about that, one thing that I've seen is because of this winner-take-all phenomenon that we are observing, and we're seeing this in majority of the sectors. It used to be the case that used to be a thing only on the consumer side. Increasingly, that's true even on the enterprise side. And because of that, too much money is chasing a few deals, whereas a lot of deals end up starving. That's one thing we've seen. Another one is seeds are just getting larger and larger, where you have more dollars getting poured into each seed deal. So even if you just talk about the total number of dollars into deals, that remains high, but the total number of seed deals, just because of the math, the total number of seed deals have gone down. I mean, just to give you some numbers, if you think about average amount of seed funding a startup had back in 2010, the average seed funding was about $1.5 million at most. Now, last year, if you look at what did the seed funding look like, the average was at $6.3 million. So it's like the classic Series A is now a seed, and Series B is a Series A, and so on. So that's another thing which has sort of become really big in the last couple of years. And one more interesting, it's sort of expected, I guess, but one more interesting phenomenon has been that a lot of seeds, in fact, more than 50% of companies now at seed stages actually have revenue. And this is a very big change from back in, say, 2010, where less than 10% of seeds would actually have revenue.
Well, this is something that we've been promoting aggressively, is bootstrap first, raise money later. So if you actually start your fundraising with adequate validation and even paying customers some revenue, that puts you in a much better negotiating position. But just to follow up on what you said about the seed rounds really bloating up because there are too many VCs chasing the same deals and want to flush them already at the seed stage with capital, and the seed rounds are bloating up to $6 million. What about ownership? I mean, if you take $6 million in a seed round, what does that do to your ownership?
Well, so let me just talk about us. How do we think about seed investments and seed ownership? For us particularly, when we invest in a seed company, we aren't really, as I mentioned earlier, we aren't really that strongly focused on how much do we own. It doesn't mean we would be okay with the 2% ownership, but at Series A, like I said, we like to lead or co-lead. So the ownership requirements are way stronger there. We would say, we need 20% in ownership at Series A. But at seed, we don't really have such requirements. Our primary objective of getting into making an investment at seed stage really is, hey, we think this is going to be a really strong company, and we want to be the one who has the chance to get a first shot at investing at Series A. I mean, I think, one of the big reasons that the seed rounds are getting bloated is also because there is so much competition now at Series A for the really good deals, people want to get started with a partnership with the company earlier and earlier.
But my question actually is from the entrepreneur's perspective. If an entrepreneur takes $6.5 million in seed, how much ownership does he have left in the company?
Yeah, so you know what? Entrepreneurs have to be careful about making sure that they don't, they manage the valuation from that perspective. It isn't really a good idea to give up so much of the company that, it actually will make even raise the next round really difficult, because if the entrepreneurs don't really have enough skin in the game, believe me, the VCs also don't really want to invest in the next round. So if you're taking in so much money early on, you better have an idea which will lead to higher caps, higher valuations, so that money doesn't seem to just, doesn't lead to really giving up ownership completely.
Yeah, I'm not at all a fan of this kind of bloated seed rounds, and that's totally not what we practice in the 1 million by 1 million philosophy and methodology. We try to, advise our entrepreneurs to take small amounts of money and build more in a capital efficient way, and paying attention to their own ownership, because, the other side of this coin, even though everybody is chasing unicorns, the other side of the coin is the vast majority of exits happen at the sub $50 million range. So if you raise $20 million, you don't really make money off a $50 million exit. So you've got to kind of manage all that in the early stages. If you've reached escape velocity, if you've reached inflection point already, then you have more freedom, more degrees of freedom to take more money and still be okay. But if you start taking lots of money without reaching any of those milestones, that doesn't necessarily always turn out well. It could be you work for 7-8 years and make no money as an entrepreneur, create no wealth at all, no personal wealth at all.
That's wise advice, Shamina. It is extremely important to sort of figure out where do you expect this company to be when it grows up? As in, do you expect the exit? What kind of exit do you expect for the company? If it's an idea you think that it will get to, 100 million exit, you're absolutely right. Staying lean, taking in small amount of money is absolutely the right way to move forward. But if you believe it's a large market, it's going to be a big company, velocity is important at that point. And so at that point, you can think about raising bigger rounds. You're basically calling the traditional Series A, now you're calling it a seed. So the valuations also have increased, appropriately gone up for those kinds of companies. But it's important not to just ape, hey, this company raised such a big round, and so I need to go raise one. That's not really the right thought process. The right thought process is how big do you expect the company to be, and so raise the money according to that so that you do make good profits at the end.
So, Preeti, one observation I'm sure you would resonate with this is all entrepreneurs think that their companies are going to be billion-dollar companies. And, that's kind of the entrepreneur mindset. But one of the things we do extensively in the 1 million by 1 million methodology is create really deep bottom-up TAM models and really deep positioning, deep segmentation to really understand what is the TAM and how big a company can you build. And very often when we go through that exercise using our tools, we come up with numbers that are not as large. So, if you don't go through that exercise, let's say you don't have the rigor to go through that exercise and you just, and there are lots of investors out there right now who don't have necessarily that kind of rigor. So between an entrepreneur who doesn't have the rigor and VCs who don't have the rigor, you could end up with a lot of money up front without the market going forward. You kind of think in 30,000 foot terms, and you can think that, yes, I'm going to build a humongous company. So you have, this kind of artificial conviction with no real validation. That creates a lot of carcasses all over the place.
Absolutely. And by the way, even if you're going after large markets, the idea always is you stay really lean, burn as low a cash as possible until you hit product market fit. Until
Exactly.
Product market fit, staying lean is extremely important. Once you have the product market fit, then you can say, okay, I'm going to go pour in money as the gasoline and get this going in a big way.
Yeah, and often product market fit determines and shows you what is going to be the size of the market. Product market fit tells you what your positioning needs to be. What is the segment that is going to adapt your product with velocity? And that may not be this, $1 billion, $5 billion market. That may be a $500 million, $700 million market, or even smaller, in which case you have to accordingly tailor your strategy, your funding strategy, and all that. But what we're discussing is very poorly understood and very poorly executed in the industry.
Absolutely.
All right, Preeti, that was a very good conversation. I believe that you're staying a little bit for the entrepreneur pitches.
Yeah, I'm here for a little bit.
Okay, so let's flip and go to the entrepreneur pitch segment of the presentation today. Now, those of you who are going to present, I want to set expectations a little bit. Look, this is a safe working session. You don't need to be nervous. You don't need to be defensive. You don't need to be worried. This is, we are working here together to help you figure out whatever it is that you're struggling with, whatever it is that you need feedback on. There's no other agenda. So we're on your side, wholly and squarely. You may disagree with my feedback, though, or with Preeti's feedback. Don't feel bad about that. It's your venture. You will determine the strategy, but obviously we have, more experience. So what we're telling you is based on that experience, and you need to take that into consideration in determining your strategy. The other thing that I want to set expectations on is not all businesses can raise money. Not all businesses should raise money, and raising money doesn't guarantee success. There are plenty of stories, as you heard in the discussion that we just had, that have not succeeded after raising significant amounts of money. So you really need to manage all this with intelligence and with depth of decision making, depth of strategy, strategic thinking. So anyway, that's just my preface. We're going to start with, who is this? Whose presentation is this? I see a very fancy, here we go, Mohit Walia, Kitchens on Rent. Okay, Mohit, please unmute your line and come and tell us what you're doing.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, we can hear you fine.
All right, great. So we're based out of India, and our office is in Noida, which is really near to Delhi. And our company is called Kitchens on Rent. And as you can see, we basically tie up with existing kitchens in the F&B space, and we utilize their kitchens to fulfill orders of our brand. So our team is basically from the F&B background as well. For me and myself and my co-founders, we've been in the food tech space for a while. Myself, I've worked with Zomato, and I have myself also shared and sold a lot of ad sales line of ads. So while we were in the aggregator space selling ads to the restaurants in Noida and Delhi, we realized that basically there is a huge problem in the market. The problem being that the customers are there in the market who are willing to go and order online. However, the kitchens are still struggling. The aggregators were still not able to provide enough and sufficient orders for them to even be coping up with their raw material and manpower costs. So then there was a vicious circle which used to happen. There used to be a restaurant which opens up. She used to struggle for the next 6 months. After the 9th or 10th month of the inception, in order to cut costs, in order to save more money, they start basically doing on these raw materials. So what we do is we basically tie up with these on-delivery restaurant delivery platforms, fine dining restaurants, caterers, and hotel kitchens. Basically, any and every kitchen which is basically serving food is what our go-to audience is in terms of our B2B platform, which is Kitchens on Rent. Once we tie up with the kitchen, we basically have two brands, one the Indian cuisine and the Chinese cuisine by the name of the Masala and the Oriental Chapter. Next slide, please. So what we do is we've identified basically the problem in the market being that there are a lot of kitchens which have been established, but they are not doing enough orders in a day. Ideally, in 10-hour operation, a kitchen can fulfill 40 to 50 orders. However, as there are a lot of problems, which we will get into the later part of the slide, kitchen is doing on an average 15 to 20 orders a day. So what basically the same thing at Oyo was happening, that a lot of hotels were not being booked. We identified the same problem in the kitchen space. The B2C market, which is still there, that there are more and more people in and around who are getting more tech savvy. their spendable income is becoming high, so they do not mind ordering online. Next slide, please.
So just a second, before you move to the next slide, Mohit, you're talking about the supply side of this marketplace. What about the demand side of the marketplace?
So the demand side, in terms of the consumer, there is extremely high demand.
You're talking about renting out kitchen, right? Spare capacity in kitchens. So that's other people who have spare capacity in kitchens. What about that side? How big is that market? How validated is that market? Are people willing to take other people's kitchens?
Got it. I can answer your question. I got it better now. So we basically launched 10 days back into the market, and we tied up with 3 existing kitchens. And within 1 month of us going live, we've already tied up with 7 new restaurant owners, and we are getting inbound calls organically. Everybody basically realizes that going on through these aggregators is not the only way to survive. Hence, they themselves look for B2B and corporate tie-ups like catering contracts, because they know they need a certain extra income to sustain. So what we do is we essentially share costs.
Wait. Hold on. I don't understand your business. If you started off by saying that you're trying to match up people who have excess of orders to people who are not getting as many orders. So on the slide that is on the screen right now, you're showing that kitchens have spare capacity, which tells me that.
Absolutely.
So whom are you trying to sell to? Are you trying to sell to other restaurants who actually have excess orders, or are you trying to sell to corporates who will order directly with these kitchens who have excess capacity?
Okay, so what we're trying to do essentially is onboard a lot of, or as many kitchens as we can, who are struggling in the market, who are not hitting with a proper utilization or daily capacity. So right now, as on the slide, we've identified that in an average delivery space, there is a kitchen with a minimum setup of 600 square feet and having a manpower of 5. They still do not use their entire capacity, and we basically use the same manpower and their infrastructure to make them fulfill our recipes for our brands which we're selling. So it's somewhat what Fastso's identified in the market, that from one kitchen, if you're running one cuisine, it will still not be enough to cover and basically make more costs. So what we started to do and what Fastso's realized was that we will launch different cuisines from the same kitchen in order to target to a bigger B2C, which is the online ordering consumer space. So for example, if I am a multi-cuisine kitchen, which is able to serve Indian and Chinese both, a user would still go on an aggregator program or a normal website and will still try to search for more options in the North Indian, or / would not just trust a multi-cuisine restaurant to be giving a special Oriental or any other taste which they're serving in a different, or looking for in a different cuisine. So what we basically have done is we utilize the same manpower of an existing kitchen which is already serving in the market. We train their chefs. We give them our recipes. We give them our packaging. We are the one who are marketing our product online on these aggregators. So we basically are filling in the gap. So the front end is the user orders.
Hold on. You are selling a set of cuisines under your own brand. So you're not bringing other restaurants who have excess capacity to use these spare capacity kitchens. You want to use it yourself. You want to generate orders under your brand, and then you want to distribute the execution of those orders in these various spare capacity kitchens. That's what you're saying.
Yes. So what you basically, yes. But we had actually gotten into the market thinking that we will be able to serve other people and help expand other brands. But as I said, we're a very lean bootstrap startup, and we realized that the sales cycle in converting and convincing another brand to go to another kitchen was taking too long. And we needed to basically, and there was actually, we felt no reason why not to have our own brands run. It's because the shared kitchen concept is rather new in the industry. And what we're trying to say is that these are virtual cloud kitchens. Because of our brand, we tell to the existing kitchens that you take our franchisee. It's a virtual franchisee, because we try to make as much as we can of our brand, which are the cuisine and the Indian brand. So yes, right now we are only on
like
kitchens.
Zomato under your brand, various brands of various different cuisines,
Absolutely.
and you're taking orders from Zomato, and then you're distributing the orders elsewhere.
So it's basically how factories outsource their manufacturing, right? But they still take care of everything else except the manufacturing. So we have actually outsourced it to existing kitchens. However, we do provide the training and.
So what are you seeing? What kind of numbers or what kind of penetration are you seeing?
Fairly good, I would say. I mean, I would always want more orders to come every day, but in the first 1 week itself, we clocked over 25,000 rupees. Our average ticket size is about 500. Our reviews are 5 on 5. So there is a good traction at the start. However, this is just the beginning, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. We are aiming to hit around 100 orders a day by the end of this fiscal year, by March 2019, because we are expanding also at an equally fast rate. As I said, within the first 1 month itself, we onboarded 5 new kitchens. And in all now, from the month of February, we'll be serving from 7 different locations, which is Noida, Delhi, and Gurgaon. For the month of March, when we are closing, our expansion plans include going to new regions, which is Chandigarh and Dehradun, because these are the regions which are the tier 2 cities, which still have an aspirational value to basically order from new places. The Delhi market is saturated as such, if I'm being very honest, because there are already a lot of players. So hence, yes, I would be able to onboard a lot of kitchens, but then it is becoming equally difficult to sell my brand online to users, because there will be discounting, organic orders are extremely low, customer numbers are being masked by these aggregators, so retention is also really tricky. So what we're trying to do is basically we try to give, as the screen says, a complete holistic experience to our users by giving them great food delivered under 30 to 45 minutes and in great packaging. And our marketing is also around the packaging which we provide, is because our packaging is such that a user usually retains inside the house. It, of course, has mentioned our website and a call to order number. So it's a very strategic thing which we've done, trying to give the user the best home delivery experience.
Let's go to your questions. Actually, before you do that, let me get Preeti to comment on what her impressions are in general, and then we'll go to your questions. Go ahead, Preeti.
You know, I would have actually liked to see the whole deck, because I don't want to make comments until I've seen the entire thing.
So we don't want to see the whole deck. So we kind of give people 10 minutes to do their presentations, and that's why it's a bridge presentation. So Mohit, why don't we go to your questions then?
Yes, ma'am. So basically, my questions are, firstly, should we scale or should we consolidate in the markets? As I said, that the response has been overwhelming. So many kitchens have opened arms to us and are saying that, please come in, we heard about you, you're sharing costs, how are we doing it? And as I said, we're a lean startup. So right now, we're not even sharing direct fixed costs. So we registered all the costs in the variable payout which you do to per order. So it helps us expand, having very, very, very low capex. So right now, my question is, should I focus on geography?
Based on what you have said so far, is that you're putting too much emphasis on the kitchens and bringing the kitchens on board, and not enough emphasis on the demand. Because the success of your business is dependent on the demand from the consumers or corporates, whomever you're going to cater to. So you need a really high velocity customer acquisition strategy, whether it's B2B or B2C, either way, but that's what's missing in my opinion.
Absolutely. So absolutely. So in the last few slides, I've actually mentioned that go-to-market strategies. However, ma'am, both these strategies have to run in parallel. So we have already had very strong online activities at go-to-market for promoting ourselves on these aggregators. Simultaneously, we are approaching local RWAs and local corporates as well. We've just launched 10 days into the market, and within the 10 days, the response is what we've got. Of course, our homework and everything started in October 2018, and within 10 days is what was the response that I told you we've got. So, yes, our main focus is our key metric, which we look by, is per order, per kitchen, per day. Like how many orders a kitchen is generating. Now, that is a very important metric which we are focusing on. At the same time, since this market is very fast, there are restaurant outlets over there, people are expanding, the food tech industry is growing. So this is a question which I get confused, that should I only focus on per order, per kitchen, per day via B2C or corporate or other route, and simultaneously focus on expansions of new locations? Because
I would focus, if I were you, I would focus on B2B, corporate orders, because you have kitchens which have a certain amount of capacity, and rather than trying to fill up that capacity one piece at a time, if you can get bulk orders, more corporate orders that keep kitchens occupied, you would very soon, very quickly be able to create repeat business. There's going to be a lot of repeat business. And if you build relationships with certain corporates in those neighborhoods where you have kitchens, I think that is a much better way to scale this business. And so I would do that.
If you could see me right now, you could see the smile on my face, is because that was the exact strategy we've been working for the last 2-3 days. So we've just launched this vertical. It is also mentioned in our slide, KOR Caterers. So which is KOR Caterers is what we're going to launch to corporates with, and we're essentially selling them the problem of food fatigue. So we have just basically set up a team as well, which will be going to these corporates and saying that, listen, the problem in the user space inside your offices is that you're one vendor. If you're selling the same food to a user, the palate gets bored. You get too used to the taste, and the food gets bland. Now, by virtue of the fact that we're tying up with shared kitchens, every kitchen has its own unique recipe. It has its own unique heart. So the food which comes out is also absolutely different. So we're trying to sell that USP to corporates so that we get like a more strong foothold.
So Mohit, now you take that argument and play it out fully, right? If I'm a corporate who wants to work with you in this mode and you're telling me that the value proposition is there's going to be a change of taste, it's not going to be the same thing over and over again, and then you need, in whatever neighborhood you get your corporate clients, you need 5 or 6 kitchens in that neighborhood to be able to rotate through different cuisines, different tastes, different types of cuisine.
Got it. Ma'am, not all. So we basically targeted and segmented our catering. So we've basically gone online and we checked basically which kind of offices does our customer audience, our target customer are they in that particular corporate. If not, then we targeted corporates as well who have somewhere around 100 to 500 employees. And our kitchens right now, which we've onboarded, are essentially between that 45 to 50% utilization. So they still have enough capacity, right now we're triangulating and at least can cater to 150 additional orders a day from these corporates. So that is how we're segmenting and making sure that we are basically the right
focus on Delhi and focus on corporates and see what kind of numbers you can get to in the next couple of months. I think it will give you an idea of how to acquire these customers, how to scale this. Instead of going to Chandigarh and whatever, going to different cities is very cumbersome. In the logistics business, largely a logistics business, it's going to be very cumbersome to go to different cities without actually fully understanding what is the scaling model. So, and by the way, until you get a good handle on this should not go to VCs at all. This is too early to go to VCs because you haven't figured out what business you're building yet.
But ma'am, having said that, the B2C is still one of the major focuses. The B2B vertical is still something for a sustainable incomes throughout, because B2C is very variable. So we still have to look at a holistic route as to which way or probably completely which vertical actually is working. I do agree that both of them in themselves are beats. But as I said, that we're a completely bootstrap startup. We're not letting go of any platform as such. So we're trying to see and we're trying to experiment here. But I still do believe that B2C
is not pray and try everything under the sun. The way to do successful bootstrap startups is latch on to experiment very intelligently, latch on to one or two really effective strategies and then execute the hell out of those, not keep all the options open. Then you would basically be, trying this, trying a bit of that, and then nothing will scale and nothing will reach velocity.
Got it.
Okay. Good luck, Mohit. Sutanu Banerjee, you're up next, also Delhi. Okay, well, we're looking at Delhi then. Sutanu, are you on the call? What's going on? Maureen, should I move to something else? Well, if Sutanu doesn't dial in, then I'm going to forward to showing you how to use 1Mby1M, and then we'll come back either to Sutanu or There we go.
Hello.
Who is this?
Hi, this is Sutanu here. Hi, Samana.
Okay.
Hi, Preeti. Is Mohit there? Hello.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, it is pretty much. My name is Sutanu. I am from this company called as Prakriti Inbound. We are in the business of travel pretty much. I was listening to Preeti very attentively. Probably the whole idea is that we have gone through a cycle from where we have developed an ERP platform and a distribution model, which is pretty much based on little older technology, and we're in the process of migrating into cloud-based and new, more AI-based technology. And in the process, what we thought is to sound out Ramona, is this something what makes sense as a model? Because we have a client system where, let me take you through this presentation. I think who was driving this? Can I go to the next slide, please? Now, in a multilingual space of services, what we clearly define is that we are not someone who is trying to go to the end user at this space or at this shape. Now, we are pretty much servicing India, the vacation travel part, and we are presently going to stick around on that and going to scale that part only. Can I go to the next one? But the reason of the vacation business, in our understanding, is following. The airlines have changed. The lodging supply has become much on based of technology, AI, XML API, those process, and of course the GDP contribution across the globe has created some degree of flexibility to have vacation per se. Could I come down to the next? Now, this is exactly what we don't believe is our business. Not airport to hotel and come back. Because somewhere in the middle, the next slide will talk about it. Can I go to the next? Now, even this one, now the facility and warehousing, it is not just our model. Our model goes further down where this is, our model goes down to where a person travels in between two things and we distribute wherever we have to confront this ideology. Now, business itself, in our understanding, that has got certain value system, and the technology is changing that value system where it is breaking through the experience per se. Can I go to the next? Right now, we are standing here. Most of the process, what we are handling in T2 India, is something like this, where tool package has got different components, and these components go through a churn to create mobile and desktop application for our consumers. We have done it in different languages like Chinese, like German, of course English. And can I go to the next level? Now, where we have already completed that part, now we are facing the challenge that, okay, this is how the future is coming around. And since the future is coming more in terms of personalized services, more in terms of seamless offers to the end consumer, we, in our understanding, that we need to go ahead with the newer technology to upgrade and to redistribute. Because many of our clients, I think the next slide, please. Now, our processes, our client identification, they keep on talking to us about what they want in terms of their own individual expectations from the services, especially to exotic locations which are far off, which are trans-border.
Sutanu, we need to get to your business. We've talked about a lot of stuff which are very generic and we still don't understand at all what your business is. So get down to the specifics.
Okay, can you come to the next one? Now, what we are pretty much into the travel business, where trans-border travel, we take care of with the complete service options. Now, this is what in generic or in a kind of business term, we call it package tour business. And this is what we have been doing so far.
Package tour operator, is that what you're proposing?
Yeah, not pick up, but the complete breakdown of the package and to distribute it further through all the devices which are available to the end consumer, because we are not selling it to the end consumer directly ourselves.
So whom are you selling to? Who's your customer?
The travel operators or the distributor, those who are staying close to the end user.
This doesn't work for me.
Essentially,
I'm an avid traveler, and what you're proposing doesn't work for me.
It doesn't? In our business, what we find is that most of our clients, they are another travel organization, those who are procuring the services from us.
And what services
this is where we are.
What do you do? I don't understand yet. After spending quite a bit of time with you already, I don't understand what you do. So what do you do?
What we do is we package the whole services, and we are essentially a tour operator's back office.
Okay, so you're a business process outsourcing provider to tour operators.
That's right. And what we do is we white level the complete services and offer it for their further distribution within their ERP, and we manage it through our ERP over there.
Okay, and is this already happening, or is this something you're already doing
right.
it?
No, we are already happening. That's right.
Okay. So what level are you doing it at?
Right now we are. This is what. This is the revenue is, of course, in Indian rupee. We can simply divide it by 70, I think.
So what is this? It's discrete numbers, or is it lakhs or crores or something? What is this?
This is in crores. We're all in crores.
So you're 1,176 crores?
No. No. This is what is the lakhs, and over here the complete company transaction numbers will come on the next slide. This is what is the distribution of incomes in terms of foreign exchanges. This is lakhs. We are right now clocking something around 12 crore rupees. That is around 1.6 million. Yeah.
You're doing 1.5, 1.6 million as a back office service to tour operators. So why did we go through 10 minutes of, random stuff to get to that nugget? Why did we start the presentation by saying we are a back office provider for tour operators?
Yeah.
I'm just giving you candid feedback on why this presentation is not a good presentation, right? We could have gone to the meat of this discussion right away if you told me that we are a back office provider of travel agents or tour operators. And end of story, and then we can get to your strategic questions. What are your strategic questions?
Sure.
Instead, I spent 9 minutes not understanding anything of what you're doing.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry about
that. All
right,
so let's go to your questions. What are your questions? What are you trying to answer? Address.
See, what we are trying to do is that since we have created a kind of platform which is not something which is based on new technologies of AI or something. Now, what we find is that a lot of small, mid-sized tour operators are in constant need to upgrade their systems. And in this process, what we are doing is we are adapting various other technologies in this platform. And to popularize this platform, we are looking at enhancing our capacity within India, within US and Australia, especially at the market level. Now, if there is a provision of technology coming up, do you think the services can actually understand or recognize technology as a differentiator of business? Because all the new technologies, they are becoming so prohibitively expensive for a lot of small, mid-sized companies that they find a challenge to adopt it. So we are trying to become a service provider who is providing the technology as a part of the service as well, not only the travel.
So, how many customers do you have? How many tour operators are using this right now?
Around 10, 11 of them.
So these are big customers. Each of them pay you a substantial amount of money to use your service a year.
Actually, that is in B2B business. I believe that's how it happens. That in this domain of ours, any partner is going to be, or any B2B partner is going to be someone who is transacting, and each of the transaction value is higher.
So, Sutanu, can you answer questions in one or two words instead of going on this convoluted discourse? How many customers do you have? What is the average deal size per customer? You said 10 to 12 customers. What is the average deal size per customer? Are we talking about 1 crore per customer per year?
The average is going to be around 140,000.
$140,000 what?
$147.
Okay, so about 1 crore per customer.
That's right.
Okay, got it. All right. So now I think what you need to figure out is what is it those customers are doing, and what is it that technology-wise, what is it that those customers are doing, wanting to do that is beyond what they're doing right now from a technology point of view? That's one lever. So you have a business that is working, right? You have a business that generates, about over $1 million, and that's fine. So now you have to figure out what are the levers to grow this business. So you have a few levers. Number one is figuring out what are the upsell opportunities, what are the cross-sell opportunities, maybe what are the productization opportunities of the existing customers, which will give you some ideas about where to take from a product roadmap point of view or services roadmap point of view. Second thing is you need to broaden your customer base. You need to learn how to acquire customers.
Right.
And that's something that, we know very well. We have lots of experience of taking, a company that has 10 customers, 5 customers, 10 customers to 100 customers, 500 customers, and so forth. So that's something we know very well. We can definitely teach you how to do that. So those are the levers. Those are the levers that you're going to have to push to grow your business. It's not complicated. You have made things very, very complicated. The presentation is very complicated. What you're doing is very simple. You're a back office for tour operators. So we need to get more tour operators to use your service, and we need to expand your service so that the current tour operators who are using your service get a broader range of service and become bigger partners for your business. That's the business here. It's very simple.
Yes, that is one way, is very simple way that's how we are being defined all the time as an industry. What we are trying to do is exactly on the, it will be, I think, slide number 24. The problem what is happening is that the farther you are away from the home base for the travel agent, the complexities of an operation make them go away from selling the destination. What we are trying to do is, by providing technology, can we simplify their sales process? That is what is our principal idea. In a traditional format, servicing our business is a fantastic idea in travel. But when the technology becomes enabler, then the challenge starts to happen that how fast I can develop the technology before the some other person fills in that gap.
So, Sutanu, what is your question? Can we just cut to the chase and ask me what your question is?
Now, the question is that in an outsourcing model, the way the services get outsourced in travel industry, along with the services, we are trying to outsource the technology of the travel. Do you think it has got a very rapid growth path in US? I
have no idea.
Does that
I haven't looked at what services you provide, what you do for these people,
Sure.
what are the prioritization opportunities. We have methodology that we can apply to extract all those answers in the program. But off the top of my head, I have no idea. I don't have enough information to answer these questions.
Okay. All right.
So we have a bootstrapping product with services methodology, which I think would be the appropriate methodology for you to follow to build this business to the next level. And that's something we can very convenient, very easily, efficiently teach you that methodology and coach you on that methodology. But without applying that methodology and doing the homework that we need you to do, it's impossible for me to answer those questions in vacuum.
Oh, understood. Thank you. Sure.
All right. Good luck. The good thing is that you have customers and you have revenues and you have profits. That's the most important thing. So from here we can build to the next level.
We shall see. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Kisiaki Juma, you're up next from Tanzania. Kisiaki on the phone? Vinayak Raghu is asking, is the challenge unable to keep pace with technology evolutions, ERP changes? I am not sure whom you're asking this question to. I don't really understand the question. Are you asking this question to Sutanu? Maureen, is Kisiaki joining in? Yeah. Sutanu, you have a question from the audience that you may want to answer in public chat or in Q&A. Well, if Kisiaki is not dialing in, then I'm going to move on. Kisiaki is not dialing.
Hello?
Yes. Go ahead. Go ahead with your presentation, Kisiaki.
Well, good to be presenting.
Very good. Go ahead.
Yeah, so basically, I'm going to present about a mobile application and a web-based application as well. That is called Happify. Next slide, please. Yeah, my quick history is that I'm from Tanzania. You're aware of that by now. Pursued bachelor degree in computer engineering.
Line is breaking up.
And at the moment,
Kisiaki, your line is breaking up. We can't really hear you. Yes.
Is it clear now, right?
It's better, yeah. So what is this app that you to do?
So this one is it's an app that serves the service provider or vendor with sharing the information on the sales promotion and the happy hour specials that is happening at its place of work. And the users of the app, they get to be notified based on the proximity and upon subscription on the app, the products of their choice. So that is what it basically does. Because what we are having, the existing system is that if you're somewhere and a friend tells you that, hey, you know what, there is a sales promotion happening today, or there is happy hour special somewhere, that's when you get to know the information. But using the application, you don't have to rely on a friend's information. You can just subscribe on the download the application, and then you subscribe, then you get the information that you want.
And where are you planning to launch? Has it already been launched?
Well, at the moment, we are finalizing the development for the testing phase. This March we'll be doing our testing phase, which we already have about 20 plus vendors that they're willing to give it a try. And before, like we started the landing page like 3-4 months ago, and up to now we already have about 1,200 subscribers that we are willing to send them SMS once they are.
What is the geography?
Yeah. Come again?
What is the geography? Where is all this happening?
Oh, yeah. So the initial phase is going to be in Dar es Salaam, the commercial city of Tanzania, and that's where I reside. So it's going to be in Dar es Salaam, and then taking it slowly, scaling into the nearby regions, Morogoro and so forth. Because the app itself is everything that you wish for. You want to have, let's say it's already happening. You have, let's say a clothing company such as Woolworths. They have their sales promotions, but all they're doing is they're using, let's say, the magazines, the media.
I got it. So, Kisiaki, here's some questions that you want to figure out. If you have 20 restaurants and about 1,200 residents of Dar es Salaam who are willing to use this product, so I presume these 20 restaurants will be willing to pay you a subscription fee. What is the subscription fee that you think they're going to be willing to pay? How much?
Well, we have come up with a payment scheme or model of which, let's say, if you're going to be paid based on the monthly basis, then you'll be charged around $50. And then as you're willing to pay more, then you get some relief on the payment side.
So $50 per month is the pricing of this product?
On the subscription part, because we're not just going to give them.
That's fine.
We're also going to.
How many restaurants are there in Dar es Salaam that fit this model? That would be target customers for you.
Almost every restaurant.
How many restaurants are there?
More than 2,000, I presume.
2,000. Okay, so we are talking about 2,000. Your target audience right now in Dar es Salaam is about 2,000 restaurants paying $50 per month.
Yes.
So conceivably, you could build a $100,000 a month revenue business just catering to Dar es Salaam. If you could penetrate the whole market. You won't be able to penetrate the whole market, but let's say you're going to penetrate 30%, 40% of the market. Let's say you're going to build a $30,000, $40,000 a month kind of business as the first step. So what do you need? What questions do you have? This is your immediate next step. You have to build $30,000, $40,000 monthly recurring revenue by catering to the restaurants in Dar es Salaam. What questions do you have before you are able to do that? Is there anything that is standing on the way of that? What are the questions?
When I don't have much, but this is what me and my team most of the time when we're having the discussion is what comes up. It's like every time.
It's very straightforward. What you're saying you want to do and what you need to do is very straightforward. You finish building the product and then you need to sell it to, let's say 500, 700 restaurants in Dar es Salaam and get them to subscribe. You need to learn how to sell efficiently, intelligently, and all of that stuff, but that's really your business. At the moment, there's nothing else that you need to do other than building this product and selling it to restaurants. Yeah,
and do you think is wise? Because it's not what I really I'm really hoping to do. But these questions, like I said, on our discussion, most of the time it comes up like I don't really want to be part of where I like the e-commerce kind of where that I have to collect the fees and then I have to deal with because then I'll be stuck with the quality control issues, and I just want to be the connecting point where they get this offer and then they know where to get it. I don't want to be on the side where I have to collect the fees from the end user. And you think that is wise to do that, or I'm missing out on a big picture here?
Need to be on the side where you need to collect what? I'm sorry, I'm missing something here. You need to collect your subscription fee. The subscription fee needs to be paid by some credit card or some online payments, digital payment scheme so that you can collect the monthly subscription. Other than that, there's nothing else that you need to do. You just need to train your customers so that they put their happy hours on your app, and people who are subscribing to your app get to know that there are happy hours going on and so forth. It's actually, I love the elegance and the simplicity of your value proposition. I think it's very nice.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, try it and see what's happening. And if you get stuck and if you need help with, further, as you are getting into the business, come back and start working with 1 million by 1 million. And I'll explain right now how to use the program, and you're very welcome to use it to build your business.
No, that's perfect. Thank you.
Okay. So, folks, if you like what we're doing here, please bring serious entrepreneurs. Refer 1 million by 1 million to serious entrepreneurs. I mean, everybody we've talked to today are serious entrepreneurs. They're in business. They're executing. Some of them are already making money. Sutanu is making a lot of money. It's a question of how do you scale type of challenge, but it's not like he needs to figure out a business. He has a business that is doing quite well, and now we have to figure out how to grow that business and how to scale that business. These are very serious entrepreneurs. So, Kisiaki is a very serious entrepreneur who's got a very clean idea of what business he's going to build. We love this kind of entrepreneurs, so we want to see more of them. Please bring us more of them. And if you want to use 1 million by 1 million as your acceleration program, go to 1Mby1M.com. Everything is there. You can start with following the blog, which is intense and very informative, very educational, etc. You can also use the Entrepreneur Journeys book series. There are 12 volumes of books. You can use those to learn. You can keep attending these roundtables. They happen every week almost. The full acceleration program from 1 million by 1 million is 1M Premium. That gives you extensive methodology guidance, the full curriculum, help with business development, help with strategy consulting in private roundtables, and where appropriate, we help with financing and media relations. But you do need to, through the program, you need to become fundable before we can send you to investors, because we don't want you to send you to investors to get rejected left, right, and center. So go to the self-assessment actually on the website. It's a free questionnaire. This is the strategy development framework, strategic planning framework, and it's something that you should use to develop your own strategy. If you get stuck in that process of strategic planning, you can go learn methodology. If you find methodology gaps, you can learn that through 1M Basic. It only costs $99 a month. So, for example, Sutanu, you may want to go to the bootstrapping with services module in particular, which is what you're trying to do, is to productize more of your business so that you can scale with a higher velocity. Kisiaki, you may need to go spend some time on customer acquisition and learn the customer acquisition methodologies and so on and so forth. So there's modules for almost every topic that you need to learn at the moment. Go dig around on the website. There's tons of information about what to expect from Premium, what to expect from Basic, and figure out whether this is the right program for you or not. There are videos, video FAQs, etc. There's comprehensive description of the curriculum. It's a case study-based curriculum involving people who have done it before. There are more than 100 people who have built unicorn businesses 400 plus who've been venture-funded businesses, 400 plus who've built bootstrap businesses. You can learn from them. You can learn a lot from them and their methodologies, their strategies, and that's what we've done in the curriculum. The methodology is lean, capital-efficient bootstrap startups. Bootstrap first, raise money later is the principle that we follow here. That's it. We have one more roundtable in January, 3 in February. I have a bit of travel in February. And then we also have these in-person rendezvous in Menlo Park. Those of you who are in Silicon Valley or are visiting from somewhere else and coming into Silicon Valley and would like to network and come see me, you're welcome to use any of these in-person rendezvous. January 30th is one next week, next Wednesday. And then we have 2 more in February. So I'll be happy to see you, get together, get to know you, etc. And they're very, small, intimate, kind of in-depth, very friendly discussions, very friendly groups, very friendly camaraderie, and so forth. So they're very enjoyable, actually. We just had one this week. So that's kind of the in-person meeting point, but most of the program runs virtually, so you can join from anywhere in the world, and these are the meeting points during the program. That's it. If you have questions, I'll be happy to answer questions. Meanwhile, let me introduce you to Irina Patterson. If you have questions about the program, Irina will be happy to get on the phone with you or Skype or whatever. So, questions, folks? Anybody? Yes, no? No questions. All right, then we'll wrap up for today and we'll see you back here. And come, Sutanu, you have a question. Go ahead, Sutanu. Sutanu's question is, you were wondering if travel tech is a set you are looking for. Travel tech is a wonderful sector. I love travel tech, and if you look in my writings, I've often actually suggested ideas in travel tech, kinds of products that I'm looking for. Because I'm an avid traveler, there are certain things that I'm looking for that is not out there. So I think travel tech is a wonderful sector, and actually what you're doing is very interesting because where your observation is absolutely right is that travel industry is not full of heavily technical people. So, but the travel segment is absolutely swept up with technology right now. So if you can assist these travel sector people with sophisticated technology, I think it's a very good value proposition, and I'm not surprised that you're getting good traction and you've built a good solid business based on that value proposition. I think you can scale it. Jeff, you're very welcome to pitch. I look forward to listening to you. That is where I'm looking at a foothold in there. Yeah, I think you should be able to find that foothold. It's a question of how you pitch and how you position and how you penetrate the market for scale. That's something we can help you with. Anybody else? Any other questions, comments? All right, folks, we'll wrap up for today, and we will meet you back here next week, and we'll continue the conversation. And some of you who are planning to pitch, I hope are going to come on next time, and we'll have a discussion about your businesses. Thank you, folks. Bye, everybody. Thanks for coming today.